I'm assuming you are thinking that everyone turned vegetarian tomorrow or over time, in the near future, rather than if everyone had been vegetarian from the start. Here are some thoughts. 1. A lot of marginal land, particularly hillsides, is economical for raising sheep or other animals, but not economical for crops. This land would cease to be used for agriculture, and would revert to scrub, gorse or forest. A lot of landscapes in some places, for example the UK Peak District, would change. 2. The price of corn and soy would drop. A large proportion of this is fed to animals, and so there would be considerably less demand for these crops. 3. Farmers and other people involved in raising animals would be out of work. Other farmers would be out of work as a result of the drop in prices of other crops. 4. Similarly, those who worked in meat processing plants would be out of work. I don't know how large or concentrated these are, but my guess is that it would cause hardship in the surrounding areas when a large number of people suddenly found themselves unemployed. 5. Fishermen would be out of work, as would people who work in fish processing plants. Sushi restaurants would have considerably less interesting menus. 6. There would be changes in the ecology of the oceans, as overfished species returned and recovered. Presumably vegetarians wouldn't wear fur coats, so seal populations might also increase. 7. The egg and dairy industries produce cattle and chickens as a byproduct, which subsidizes the production of eggs and milk. There would be a lot of cattle, male chicks and old hens that people didn't know what to do with anymore. Perhaps uses would be found for them. It depends on why everyone decided to be vegetarian. If it were for health reasons, these animals could be discarded. If it were for ethical reasons, people might object to these animals being killed and want them to be sent to retirement homes. This would increase the price of eggs and milk. This might be offset, in part, by the reduction in the price of their feed, but I don't think it would offset it a great deal. A cow produces a calf every year to keep producing milk. This is going to lead to a lot of cows in retirement homes. 8. The price of pet food would probably drop. That would be something to do with all the excess animals. If farmers were forced to keep their animals, they might pay to have them turned into pet food. 9. If people were vegetarian for moral reasons, it might be impossible to find people to kill the animals to make into pet food. 10. There would be reductions in greenhouse gas emissions. Cattle produce methane, which is released when they fart and burp. Creating fertilizers to feed the crops that are eaten by animals uses fossil fuels. These would both be reduced. 11. Runoff caused by excess fertilizer, which produces excess algae in rivers and the sea, would be reduced. 12. Oyster populations would increase dramatically. When oysters were not gathered, the seabed would be covered in huge numbers, sometimes layers of them, as oysters grew on oysters. These filter the sea and keep it cleaner. 13. There would probably be more malnutrition and vitamin deficiencies, especially amongst less educated and poorer people. You don't have to think much about food to be a vegetarian, but you do need to think a little. Especially if the price of eggs and milk rockets, to pay for the chicken and cow retirement homes. 14. McDonald's, Burger King, Denny's, etc. would need to change their menus. Such a dramatic change might change the restaurant landscape, at least in the US. 15. Industrial uses for animals' products might have trouble getting it. For example, gelatin, such as camera film, not that there's much of that anymore, might have trouble sourcing gelatin for these. Would the vegetarian population stop wearing leather shoes? Probably not, hence there might be a shortage of leather, or perhaps an excess, as farmers sought a use for the animals in their retirement homes. If the vegetarianism was for health reasons, the price of leather would increase dramatically because you would only be selling a cow for its skin, not its meat. 16. There might be overpopulation of some wild animals which are hunted for food. These might need to be culled to avoid problems. It might be hard to find vegetarians willing to cull the animals. 17. We would need more factories to make things like tofu, soy milk, etc., especially if these were used as substitutes as the price of milk and eggs rose. The drop in the price of soy would increase margins on these products, so this might happen quite fast. But for a while there will be fights in grocery stores for the last carton of soy milk. 18. I'm not sure what would happen to the price of wool. Sheep are essentially free to keep, you just let them out onto marginal land which has few other uses. I believe that shearing the sheep just about pays for itself and the profit is in the meat, but I don't know. 19. Organic food might increase in price, because without manure there are not many good sources of high-density organic fertilizer. Although if the animals are in retirement homes there will be plenty still. There's compost, but it takes a while to make and is much bulkier than manure. 20. No one is going to need a smoker anymore. Smoked tofu probably isn't going to do it. Demand for charcoal will drop. Some woodlands are sustained by their charcoal production. 21. Vegetarians wouldn't have to remember to mention it when they booked their flights, at least if it was one of those getting rarer flights where they give you food, or when they were invited to dinner. So what do you think? Would the world benefit from a global vegetarian diet? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you next time.